start? Okay, so how did this thing begin? Peptides 10 years ago. I ended up tearing about this left head came off the bone, throwing a piece of luggage in the back of a truck. Obviously, I was a little out of shape. And I went to see the doctor. The doctor referred me to an orthopedic surgeon. Orthopedic surgeon takes a look at it and goes, yeah, we got to rupture the other half off. We're going to drill through the bone, anchor this thing in, and you're going to lose half your bicep. Well, that sounds miserable. As I walk out the door, I'm like, hey, I can't hurt anymore. If I rupture the other side off, you're going to do that anyway. He goes, yeah, you can't really screw it up. So, come back. Let me know what your thoughts are. Touch base. I can set up surgery. It's going to be about 3 weeks to get you in. So let me know the sooner the better. So okay. So I get out done. I call my buddy Dave. Dave's the guy selling, growth hormone to movie stars and stuff like that for 30 years. And I asked him about growth hormone and he said, yeah. And he goes, you should try these peptides. So I ended up trying peptides and going to physical therapy. And of course, 6 weeks later, the impossible happens. It grows back onto the bone. I've never had a problem with this arm since. Now it's the other arm. I don't know if I just changed my ways for a while, babying it, but yeah, that's how it all got started. And from there, I just, little by little started going down the wheelhouse, but there's only 10 or 15 peptides that people really even heard of that you could really get information on back then. Right. Besides like growth hormone, insulin, whatever. But
so you would say you took advice from Dave and not natural medicine?
No, the doctor when he actually called me back, which was the crazy part. He calls me back and goes, so when are you coming in? And I told him, I go, actually, I don't need to. And he goes, what do you mean you don't need to? You go, which doctor do you go to? He thought I went to another doctor. I go, no, I used some peptides and went to physical therapy and it fully healed. He goes, oh, those do work.
So was that the first time you heard the word peptide or about peptides?
First time. And, I knew the steroid game from way back in the day when I bodybuilt in my early 20s. And now I'm in my mid 30s at this point. Right. And, it's not that, you maybe had heard the word peptide because of like collagen peptide or something to that effect, but I never thought of anything that you had to inject yourself with. But from there, that led me to going down the rabbit hole. Anything that you go, whoa, that's not supposed to work. You found the cheat code. So I end up getting into it a little bit, and over the years, I found me and Dave would go and get these things contract manufactured through a local facility, and whatever we can get, we get our hands on and start testing on ourselves.
What was your protocol when you were?
So to be honest with you, I couldn't remember exactly how much I took of anything because it was just, here's a bottle, throw some water in it, and take this many lines out.
I remember that time because he came up and met me in Santa Monica, and he was like, hey, you got to try this. It's great for your joints and muscles and this. And he's like, what's it called? BPC something. Well, how much do you take? I'll text you on the way home.
Yeah, because I didn't know there were no labels on any bottles back then. You had a blank bottle, and you'd sit there every once in a while and look in the fridge and go, "Was it the left one or the right one?" And you sit there and you go, "I guess I'll just take both at the minimum dose, and at least I get the benefit of one of these things," kind of deal. And sometimes you sit there and go, "If I screw this up, it won't be pleasant." Throw them out, and you just throw it. Back then, a bottle of BPC 5 milligram was $200.
Wow.
Because if you knew it was real from an American manufacturer, someone that would make it for you, because no one mass produced at this point. It was kind of order. So they'd go, you want us to make it for you? We can make it, but the smallest amount we can make is 100 bottles. Right. And you have to buy the 100 bottles.
I think I remember that because you're like, I'm just dabbling in this. I'm like, well, why do you have so many bottles already?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Every time there was one that I liked, I'm like, okay, I get it. And that's the whole point. I was trying to find people to buy this and talk to them. Most people were just, you're crazy. All my closest friends thought I was nuts for years. But, I found a few doctors that wanted them. I had a few friends that would try them. And obviously me healing. And then then the transformation started, there was enough people that go, oh, I'll give it a shot. Look what it did to you kind of thing. And with other products, not just BPC, but that's kind of how it started. And then, as the body evolved and the stories got more and more, and, more injuries because me, I'm in the hospital 2, 3, 4 times a year for something dumb. Like, oh yeah, what happened to Trevor? Oh, I got stung by a Portuguese man of war. You're like, what? Who gets stung by a Portuguese man of war? So that's just me. Like, what was the other weird one? Saliva gland stone. I didn't even know that existed until I got one, and I was rushed from a restaurant to a clinic to the ER, and then the ER doctor 3 hours later laughing at me because I had a face that was the size of a melon growing out, and they thought I was having a brain blockage or like something going on in my brain, and I was going to die. And she just started laughing at me. She goes, "You have a saliva gland stone.
Here's a bunch of candy. Suck on this."
Yeah. So I had to eat a massive amount of sour candy to create so much pressure that eventually it would squirt out of my mouth.
My son had the same thing. We thought he had a growth on his neck, like a goiter.
Yeah.
And it happens like that. He's freaking out. Yeah,
well, because you don't realize what it is, but every time you try and eat something, you create saliva and it would back up and it'd fill more. And then it would kind of, slowly maybe leak back to not normal. But like if the pressure got high enough, it would leak enough back in. It was like, like a water balloon or something that kind of stays full, or that balloon that just sat there for a week and never goes completely deflated. It was one of those. But eventually, after eating all these candy, it took 9 hours. I drove all the way back from Vegas with this thing on my face.
It's a lot of candy.
It was a lot of candy. And I remember sitting on the toilet and I was holding a glass. I thought I was going to throw up. It was so much pain. I was about to vomit. And then I'm sitting there and and all of a sudden I see water just shoot out of my mouth. I go completely unconscious and I wake up to still thinking I'm holding the bowl, but it's shattered everywhere. And I'm drooling and my whole face is deflated. It was amazing.
We got to find a peptide for that.
Yeah.
So I forgot to ask, but what was the full timeline of healing that bicep?
Realistically, by the time I got the peptides and started I'd say 8 weeks, I was pretty much back to normal. Obviously, I didn't go hit the gym and start, curling 80, 90 pounds on a bar or anything like that. But I went back slowly and it was like no pain first day, with a 15-pound weight. 4 or 5 days later, do biceps again and no pain with 25-pound weight. And so I'd say by week 12, I knew I was in the clear. But it was pretty much, we saw the recovery really happen about 6 weeks in. 8 weeks, they sent me home. And by week 12, I was 100%.
So I know you had that pretty severe neck injury. And I think you ended up turning to peptides for the second time.
Yeah. So now I knew what they were.
Right.
So.
And you were playing with peptides the whole time.
Yes. This is now, you fast forward, probably 5 years later for this. Cause it was 6 years later. Cause I broke my neck a little over 3 years ago. So I ended up having, as you get in shape, you pull muscles, you tweak things from here. To be honest with you, sleeping wrong is what did this. So I had a little bit of a neck cramp that was lingering, nothing bad, but it was like, annoying. And so I was like, oh, you should probably go to a chiropractor. I haven't gone to a chiropractor because I don't really believe in chiropractors. Not that there's anything wrong. That movement sketches me out. And for good reason now. So I ended up going to the chiropractor and he's like, oh yeah, your hips are out of place. He's adjusting my hips. And he's all right. Oh yeah, something's out. So he just cranks me. Says to me, how you feeling? Oh, I don't know. It's the same word. Oh, lay back down. Does it again. How you feeling? Yeah, it doesn't feel much better. He goes, oh, you'll be better tomorrow. Go home, ice it. Right. And you'll feel like $1 million tomorrow. So I go home. I had been, the tension and the muscles at the time and that they were like strained and stressed was actually holding this together. But I go home, I fall asleep, and as soon as my body relaxed, about 3 a.m, I immediately start screaming. And my wife starts looking at me like The Exorcist. I thought there was a knife stuck in my back. We were, kind of on the way out, through a divorce and, so not that I really thought she would ever do that, but it felt like there was literally a full knife stuck in my scapula and I'm screaming. I can't move my arm. The muscles relaxed. The bone C6 shifted and it split in half. And there's a bunch of fragments actually when they went to clean out, but it went 6 millimeters into my nerve and like 5 millimeters in the spinal cord, 7 millimeters in the spinal cord. It was right next to one, but it was 1 millimeter away from dying. But I didn't know that. I just thought I slipped a disc, because everyone's like, oh, you must have slipped a disc. It's disc, everybody's got an opinion. And this is during COVID. So you couldn't really get much medical advice because you couldn't even get it. So I finally got in to see my doctor. And, it's a hoopla, you're wearing masks, and you only have one patient in the waiting room. So they're seeing like 4 people a day. And I get in, I'm dying. I hadn't slept in like a week probably at this point, week or two when I finally see him. And he's like, oh, yeah, we're going to have to do an MRI. Okay, well, good luck getting an MRI during COVID. That took another 3 weeks. We started with Vicodin to try and help with the pain. And then we went to whatever above that. And then eventually we were on full blown max dose Oxycontin and then max dose, double dose gabapentin. And I couldn't do the Oxycontin because it was making me throw up. So imagine throwing up. I didn't know I had a broken neck, but imagine throwing up with a broken neck, how painful that was. And the gabapentin, I would, doze off maybe for 2 or 3 hours max at a time before it would start to wear off and I'd start feeling the excruciating pain, and I'd wake up with double vision because all my nerves are all screwed up. It was the worst time of my life. At one point I actually thought about putting a bullet in my head. I was holding a gun. I was in so much pain. I go, this is never going to end. So get in, they do the MRI. He goes, yeah, you need to go see now a spine surgeon. So I go on to see a spine surgeon, and he goes, okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with a laminectomy where they hollow around the nerve. So they're thinking the disc is, screwed up. So we're gonna relieve pressure by making the holes bigger and then see how that does for you. Right. Well, he goes to open me up when I go in for the surgery and goes, oh, that ain't a slip disc. He's got a full broken spine. So they have to stitch me up. They epidural me, send me home, MRI me with a better MRI machine. Cause apparently I went to the worst one possible. Why do they even have this thing? And so I come out, I think I feel better because I've been epiduraled, and she's like, nope, they didn't do the surgery. I go see the doctor. So I see him 2 or 3 days later. I get in, he goes, okay, here's image 1 and here's the new clearer image. You see that? I go, I can't really tell anything. It just looks like white spots on a black background. He goes, see this line? That's a broken spine. You have a broken C6. I go, oh. He goes, I'm not a neurosurgeon. You need like someone way above my pay grade now. I'm like, great. Well, who am I going to find here? He goes, actually, the best guy in the world is here in Newport Beach, studying in Japan under 8 different doctors. He's the guy. He does all the, he's like 6 months, 8 months to even get into this guy. I'm going to make a phone call for you. Small chance, but at least we'll start there. This guy calls me back immediately. He thinks I crashed a motorcycle, fell off a cliff, something like that. He goes, what the hell happened to you? I go, I went to a chiropractor. And he goes, that's impossible. And it's true. I don't think the chiropractor technically broke my neck, but he did the last jolt. Because
how many pounds of pressure?
1,500 or 1,600 pounds of pressure to break a spine. So obviously this guy that was 5'8" was not breaking my spine that way. But it's probably why they don't mind jerking you so bad, because they're like, there's no chance you're really going to break something until you find me. And sure enough, the best part about it is everyone's telling me to sue him, and I'm not a sue happy guy. You got to intentionally want to hurt me and do something wrong for me to sue you, right? The guy didn't intentionally do that. I called and I just wanted my money back. I wanted my $280 back. That's it. I got my $280 refund. But so I go see him, and he's telling me how bad this is. He goes, you cannot drive. Don't leave your home. He's like, sit down. Don't move. I go, I'm good at that. Like, it's been so bad. He goes, if anybody hits you on the back, you get rear-ended, it's over. You're going to pierce your spinal cord, game over. You're either quadriplegic or dead. So you had to go through 15 tests and all this stuff because of COVID, this and that and all of, you had to do the COVID test before, then the day before you had to do it again. It was a nightmare. But I got in, he did the surgery. I get done. They tell me I'm not going to be able to lift anything over 6 pounds for at least 6 months. So I'm running growth hormone, I'm running BPC-B4, I'm running TB500, I'm running mechanal growth factor. I'm on everything I could think of to throw the kitchen sink at recovering fast. I get out of this thing. I went to work 3 days later, which was, he told me not to leave the house for
and did
2
you
weeks.
Take that all the way up to surgery?
I took it all the way up to surgery. And then I took post surgery, and I went to rehabilitation. They let me go after like 2 or 3. Why are you here? And I was golfing 6 weeks later, and my doctor called me. He's like, hey, I was just checking in. I'm like, oh, don't kill me. I'm at the golf course. He's like, you are not golfing right now. He's like, that is probably the worst thing you can do on your spine. I go, I feel great. for the love of God, do not make me go back in there and do it. So anyway, yeah, I have 4 discs, titanium disc in my neck, some weird jelly stuff, and a C6 that's rebuilt out of the same stuff. I guess the space shuttle comes in, that cement that's on that, so that dissipates all the heat from re-entering atmosphere. So basically I have a bionic spine in the neck area.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Ready to
you
go?
said this wasn't your brand story. It was about survival. Can you explain that mindset shift?
Well, so at this point, you're all in with like how well it can help people. And it went from, hey, this is something cool. I can make a few bucks here and there and help some people, to knowing that you could really help people, not just kind of help people, not just it might do something, because I mean, how many supplements do you go buy and spend hundreds of dollars on? Vitamins.
And you don't even know if they work.
You have zero. You never feel any different. You have no idea if it's helping. You don't get your blood work done to even check. You don't go, hey, you know what? I'm going to see if my blood work looks better after taking my zinc supplement every day for 6 weeks. And I'm going to go do a blood. I don't know anybody that's done that. So you take tons of creatine and blah, 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 thousands of dollars. And I sit there and go, for $50, $100, $200, you could recover and rebuild a spinal breakage, a torn bicep, a torn ligament in your shoulder. I had MCL issues in my knees. I couldn't get into bed. Excruciating pain. I'd have to turn my butt, jump backwards into bed to get into bed every night. Because if I went to climb into bed, I'd start screaming from all the years of playing hockey. 2 weeks of knee injections, both I haven't had pain ever since. And I'm doing 500-pound squats now.
And you're doing local spot.
Yeah, I'm pinching the knee. Yeah, BPC into the skin right around there. And there's no way to say it. It worked. I went, and the crazy part was I went a year in that kind of pain before I even decided to test it, because I thought it would go away. As dumb as that sounds, like, why do you wait that long? It was in both knees. So I did one knee first just to test it. And it should technically go everybody, but by putting that one knee, that knee healed really quick. And then I started putting the other knee, and the knee, that one healed about a week after. So there is some local piece. I know people argue about it all the time, and because it is true, it's going to get everywhere in the body. But if you do have an injury and it is trying to fix, and you start it right there, there is a chance that maybe it does stay locally there a little bit longer, that before it gets everywhere else in the body. Like I said, it wasn't like it didn't do anything over here. It just finished this one first.
Faster.
So, yeah, I mean, so anyway, yeah, as long as you just tell people what it, try and help and tell them your story, what it did for you. People get to the point where they'll try anything because Western medicine is not helping. I mean, let's look at this. When you go to the doctor, and maybe you're different. My doctor actually was really great. He discovered that I had epilepsy. He helped with a lot of different things, but I'd say the last 10 times I've been to the doctor's office for anything, sinus infection, whatever, doesn't matter. I've never seen my doctor. I see a PA.
Yep.
She gives me 3.5 minutes. They read my blood pressure, which is always enough that I should be rushed to the hospital, by the way. And they never even make a comment. My blood pressure is 148 over 110. Throw the freaking bag goes out, walk out of the door. She'll be right in. Then she pops in. Oh, hi. Yep. Okay. Here's a prescription for a pill. CVS like last time. Yep. I'll go back, pick it up. That is the way the doctors work.
It's a carousel and they're pushing paper, right? And
it's the system's screwed. I mean, the only way they make their money is off of insurance, getting money for how many patients they can get through the doorway. They don't make any money pushing prescriptions, which they shouldn't, but they used to be able to make money on some of this stuff, but they don't anymore because that was taken away. So what do? They just got to try and get as many of you through the door. And are they really caring or really assessing what they're doing for you? No. And when people would talk to me about what happened to them or they're having these problems, I would spend an hour with somebody about one little problem. And I'm not even their doctor, just telling them how things work for me and where to look and research this way and listen to this person, these other stories. I gave 900% more of an effort than their doctor did. Not everybody do it. It's a little scary with the needle, but I'd say, 1 out of 20 people in the beginning were like, thanks for taking the time. I'll give it a whirl. And then they go, oh my God, it worked. Right. And then, oh my God, it worked turns into telling a friend that turns a friend, and the snowball effect starts. Right. So, you start this thing and you have 0 for a long time, and then you get a win, and then you get 3, and then you had 20, and then you had 100, and then now you have 28,000 and 1,000,000 people that you've helped. So
with that being said, obviously, you're very evangelical about it. We all are. We talk about it, and there's so many misconceptions. So people hear peptides and they go, "Oh, steroids." Like what's your thoughts on that?
Okay, that was probably the number one thing when I would try to explain what a peptide was 5 years ago, even not even 10, but it's 5 years ago. Yeah, this is you got to use a needle. What? So it's steroids. First thing everybody reverts to steroids because they have such a bad reputation.
Right.
And I think the only reason that steroids have a bad reputation because of sports. Because really, let's look at it. By the way, they were all legal at one point, and they do have benefits if used correctly. And yes, they have side effects, but not permanent side effects when used responsibly in a lot of cases. And I'm not promoting steroids by any name of the world, but you can use things like Primobolan year in and year out at the right dosage and boost your immune system, increase nitrogen in your tissue, reduce muscle wasting.
Help your immune system.
That's what I'm saying. You have someone that is a cancer patient, AIDS patient, anything that's degenerative where they just can't keep muscle on the body,
right,
on a negative calorie diet, put a little Primo in them. They'll keep their muscle tissue, they'll keep the weight on, and give them a better fighting chance.
I mean,
it's a steroid, can't use it anymore.
A lot of these peptides and small molecules, didn't they come from, studies from HIV or Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, and the patients that were doing the trials, they saw the effects and they almost didn't want to give them back because they're like, I'm actually losing belly fat or I'm actually putting on muscle. And then they started maybe using them for other things.
I think that's how everything works. I mean, Cialis started that way. That was a heart medication that turned into an ED medication, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times we that's the thing about research and what we do day in and day out. Drew, you and me have both been test dummies for how many products now? How many products do you go, this sounds so amazing. Look at the research on this.
Scorpion venom.
Yeah, just start taking it. You get it. I mean, obviously we do it responsibly and you don't just gobble down a whole bottle of something at a time. You start small and it always starts small. If your doctor says start at 2.5, start at no more than 2. If your doctor says start at 10, start at 5, in my opinion, because you have no idea what your receptors are and how well it's going to work on you. 8, waste some money. 2, you burn them out faster. 3, you want those receptors to stay as in tune as possible. But yeah, I mean, as far as there's steroids or this, everybody had these negative connotations in the beginning and people were afraid to tell each other if they're using. I remember when GLPs first started getting popular, be like, hey, are you on a GLP? You on a Ozempic? You on anything? Oh, no, I'm not on that. No, I lost 50 pounds naturally. When was the last time you went to the gym? Where'd the weight come off from? Oh, you changed your diet. What'd you change in your diet? Oh, I stopped eating. Oh, how'd you stop eating all of a sudden? Like, I know you.
Yeah.
You have food cravings. You don't just stop eating.
Now
I've known you for 40 years.
Starving yourself.
Yeah. There's no way you just turned into a bulimic or, on me or whatever. But I mean, that's what those, GLPs do. They shut off that food craving and help with, insulin resistance, all that kind of stuff. So they do have some very good benefits, but no one would talk about it. But then they nudge us like, yeah, I'm on one, yeah, you should try it. It'll work for you too, and then and now it's like, which one are you on?
Yep.
Which one are you on? You're on Turs? Have you tried Retta?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You got to try the new one.
It's like the new iPhone. Yeah. It's like, oh, do you got the new 15, the 16 Pro Max?
Yeah. Which one are you doing now? Oh, have you tried mixing it with testosterone? Oh, crazy. You don't have any of the muscle wasting. You have energy in the gym. Take some testosterone. The brain works better. Now it's like, who can compare? Who's got the better stack?
So you said steroids override, TRT replaces, and peptides reboot. Can you break that down to someone who is totally new to all of this?
Yeah. So, I mean, and those are very loose, but, steroids are extremely powerful, right? When you talk about, I mean, there's a reason why they don't allow them in sports. And I think we all saw what it did to baseball. It actually made it the most exciting it's ever been. You turned Barry Bonds from a 195-pound dude into like 300 pounds hitting superhuman strength, right? And you look at bodybuilders and what they do, and they use them all the time year round. And anybody that says they don't, they're full of it. Now they've become more loose. We're more accepting society, but doesn't matter what you do, they are going to work. And then you go into, TRT. Well, I'm in the 40s. You're You're just
42,
over,
yeah.
I was gonna say you're over 40. We're right around the same age. When you look at our testosterone levels as a male society now compared to 50 or 100 years ago, we've just polluted ourselves with bad food and pro hormones and meat that's been pumped full of God knows what to make them bigger, right? Because if you're getting paid by the pound, you better get as much out of there. So what do you got to put in them? Because you sure as heck aren't letting them graze and eat normal. Though they're forcing food and giving them steroidal type products to pump them up, right? So if that gets into the body, it's going to shut down your own natural hormones, right? And it's not just testosterone. We talk about TRT all the time. We don't talk enough about women. They also need testosterone, by the way. They don't produce as much as men, but they need it. And something that I am actually going to be doing very soon here is I'm actually going to start dosing myself with estrogen for a sample because my estrogen levels are so low.
You need some.
Yeah. Yes.
We got to balance it out.
Yeah. But I mean, so I run so high on testosterone and I forcefully, right? I do about 350 milligrams a week to keep my body style and shape, but all my numbers look good, right? But my estrogen levels are in the toilet. They've been there forever. And you look into the reality of what is, well, you need some balance. I don't want to push my estrogen above a norm, but I need to just get it back in a range because your progesterone, your DHT, your estrogen, your testosterone, all those play a role into, you might have great testosterone, but you still can't get a hard on.
Right.
Or it's up and down because even though you have enough to get you there and you have the motivation, you don't have all the other hormones to keep the balance right. So me, not saying I can't do that, but I want to see, like I said, I've always tested everything on myself. My estrogen level has been 8 to 10, which is about 8 under the lowest you should be. And you can go up to, I think
I'm like
50.
at 21.
Yeah, 21. I'm going to try and put myself from 10 to 30. I'm going to do like 10 milligrams of estrogen. And I'm just going to see A, where that puts me, and B, how I feel different. Because I know exactly how my body works at this point and I pay attention to it, and I'll go do the blood work,
Well, if we see him to start watching more Charlize Theron movies,
and
we know that the estrogen's
and
working.
the boobs get bigger.
Yeah.
I overdid the estrogen. But it's
purposefully.
yeah, and you can thank Jay Campbell for this entire idea because me and Jay have been working on a docuseries together, and we talk about blood work and have you tried this and how much do you think this works? And because I know a lot, but I know a lot about the fact that Jay knows more than me. Like when it comes to, and Hunter,
He's definitely tried it.
he's a
all the
savant when it comes to knowing this stuff. So I'm so glad that we're all friends and can work together and we're on the same side. I don't find anybody a competitor as long as they're trying to push the space forward. Competitors are people that try and drag other people down or limit. I will help anybody in this industry as long as they want to do it the right way.
Love that. So I get this question a lot. I'm sure you do. People say, what's an alternative to TRT? I don't want to take it. I want to have kids. Like, what are some peptides that can mimic that?
So the good news. So bioregulators are becoming bigger. So we're going to start doing more bioregulators. We have a few, but testogen is the bioregulator for the testes. Well, that could give you a little bit of help right there. There are other things you can take. So if you want to get your testosterone level kind of into at least a normal-ish range, you can take things like HCG will help, kisspeptin will help. In fact, for people that are dealing with ED and Cialis and Viagra just aren't working as well as they used to do, or they're on testosterone and they're still having trouble, look at something like kisspeptin, the peptide, because it actually creates the response from the brain, the signal to your anatomy to work. So you may have all the thought up here and all the testosterone to want it, but the functionality isn't working there. And taking like a half of a milligram to a milligram, you might experience one of the greatest hard-ons you've ever had in your life. And it's completely safe. It works only for a very small amount of time. People generally, if you're trying to do kisspeptin for getting somebody, helping with pregnancy or whatnot, fertility, you're doing it 2 or 3 times a day during the ovulation period because you don't want to miss your window because it's so short acting. Whereas HCG is much longer acting, which is very successful. It's good for your testes, keeping them. But I don't need it to produce sperm. I'm not trying to have kids, but all these different things will help you naturally stay in a range that you don't feel like crap while you're not on TRT. But yeah, you can stay in a good range, feel good. And then when you get pregnant, if you want to raise the bar again and go back on TRT and get back to a 900,000, 1,200, whatever your number is, jump back on it because you don't really care if you're shooting blanks after that.
So what would you say to someone that says, peptides are just for bodybuilders?
They're idiots. Okay, so I use peptides for recovery before I ever used them for getting fit. And then the biggest fascination for me was not getting fit or weight loss. Granted, we have 70% of our society is overweight and obese. So guess what? That we don't have 70% of our society that wants to be fit and look like Superman. They just need to get the weight off before they can even think about that, right? So what's the biggest need? GLPs, right? That's why but they're so simple. Oh, great. There's a new one. They all work, by the way. It's just, one's more comfortable. Figure out which one you can afford and how you want to drive a Rolls or you want to drive a Civic or an Accord, right? That's your GLP section.
Right.
How nice you want the ride to be, but you're going to lose weight on all of them. They're all going to do the job. But I got into it for the brain. So when people go, if you could have one superpower, what would it be? I want to be invincible. I would kind of want to be Wolverine, but it's not like I want to be Wolverine. I would want to be like the smartest guy on earth.
Like Bradley Cooper in Limitless.
That was my inspiration.
Yeah.
So when everybody else was going down the fitness and the GLP range, I went really high nootropics, everything on the brain. So, plus, pretty much half my family's died of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, all those things. My grandma, my uncle, I just buried my uncle last year. I mean, it just runs in the blood. So, I look at things like that and I go, okay, how can I prevent that for me and all those other people? It's one of the saddest things. I don't know if you've ever had to go through Alzheimer's with a family member, but every day you're emotionally wrecked before you walk in the door because you don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to freak out that you're walking in the room and think you're a predator? Are they going to remember you and it's going to be a good day? Are they going to tell you a bunch of stories like you're some random stranger on a bench? You have no idea. And it's just so hard, right? So, if we can fix those and we're getting closer and closer using Clotho and P21 and all these different things that are showing regenerative, neurogenesis and rebuilding, the pathways between the synapses. I mean, we're finding out a lot of this stuff, and eventually we'll be able to at least prevent, right? So, your genetics say you're getting Alzheimer's. We can go in there and say, okay, start this process now to give your brain the chance to not to battle it away. Like you're probably going to get it still, but instead of getting it at 50, 60, 70, you're going to get it after you're dead. You're more in the range of like you'd get it at 100, right? So, but I went down the brain piece. Like if I could speak every language on earth, that'd be the smoothest thing ever.
So what would you say is the Trevor Kruder limitless brain stack?
I take it every day. You've known me over 10 years, Drew. And you can say that I'm full of it, but I think I'm at least 50% smarter now than I was when you met me or even 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
I
don't know if that's a good or bad thing to say because I'm admitting that.
Yeah,
no, but I can definitely see, you retain things.
Yeah, the ability to retain, function, focus, and I get it that sometimes you got to have a cause to really be passionate and motivated, but even then, just the ability to stay motivated to work using these is so much more. But the ultimate stack, I'd say, is, and there's a couple that will show you right away, but you're not going to see these crazy results day 1 or day 5, but down the long run, you'll notice that everything's functioning better. But you use CMAX, that's cognitive function, Solank, social abilities, anxiety. I used to, have the worst anxiety at night. I'd sit there staring at the ceiling, racing the same thing over and over and over in my head. I don't take Xanax or any of that stuff. I just dealt with it. Right. Like you just got to deal with it. I know you're going to sleep 2 hours tonight or if anything, but eventually 4:30 in the morning hits. Okay, it's early enough or late enough that you can get up and just start knocking out those things. I have 100 more things on my plate than I ever did in the other businesses I was running. 100 things worse. I don't ever have those problems anymore. So I really think it helps with that anxiety piece. I use oxytocin for that connectability and touch factor, right? You know, the oxytocin's when, you know,
Love hormone.
Yeah, essentially. So when when you have a baby and that first touch, that is the most massive amount of oxytocin your body will ever produce as a mother and a child. That touch is, you know, that's why it feels good to be not necessarily be touched in general, but be touched by someone you love. It feels different.
Right.
That's your body producing oxytocin. So I put oxytocin in. I put P21. That is the massive brain repair. We call it BDNF because it produces massive amounts of brain-derived neurofactor, which is what repairs the brain so effectively. I take all those and I put those in one injection every morning, and I run it basically as long as I can. And I just kind of skip it when I take my travel trips, and that's my on and off. Otherwise, you can take it 30 days on, take a week or two off. You can, you can run it 5 days on, take the weekends off. But for me, I just run it whenever I'm home because it's there. It's hard to travel with because those bottles last 30 days, and I don't want ice packs. I don't want to do it. Those are my breaks, right? So I was gone for 3 days. Those are my 3 days off. And then I take 1 tesofensine, 500 micrograms a day. And that is the most thing that you'll ever take to Limitless. Day 3 or 4 or 5, everybody's a little bit different when it kicks in. Yeah. 4 o'clock hits in the morning and it's not like, oh, I have anxiety. I can't go to bed. 4 o'clock hits, you go, I'm ready to crush.
It's like someone turns the light switch on in the morning.
Yeah. You don't need
ready to go.
Yeah. The lights are out. It's pitch black. You are ready to fire on all cylinders. And it doesn't stay like that forever. You do always have this like come down, but I still, even when I don't sleep and I travel and the time zones are off, there's just something about like the motivation just to even get up and go to the gym or whatever. I just get up naturally 5:36 in the morning. I'm out of bed. Even if I want to go back, my brain's already saying, you got this and this and this. Not anxiety wise, but you're awake.
You're ready to do it.
You're just ready to do it.
Crush it.
Yeah. And I get up. I'm answering emails immediately while I'm brushing my teeth and text messages on the East Coast. And that goes. And then I do take NAD. NAD is, people always go, what's the first stack you should take? What do you take? I want to take, no, do not take what I take. You got to know what does what to you. Right. So, but like first things first, you kind of look around the body and you can kind of say, take one thing for each thing is important. Take something for your growth hormone, GHRH, so testosterone, CJC, whatever, right? A combo with a GHRP to get your hormones up and the anti-aging, better hair, skin, nails, feel better, all that kind of stuff. Sleep patterns. NAD for the brain is a good first one because it's really good relay for the entire body. And then if you are overweight, throw a GLP in there to start and just use it correctly and get your butt in the gym and start changing your world. But that's a good start. And from there, you can start mixing in the other things. So I've kind of grown into knowing what my stack is. You do you.
A lot of people, they ask, especially with the brain ones, and they say, oh, are those become addictive? Or, what about when you want to stop taking them?
Stop taking them. So that's the thing. So tesofensine has this massive, I have ADD. I've had it my whole life. I've never been on Ritalin or Adderall. I've taken them, but I'm not one of those people. I hate taking pills. And that's maybe why I fell so hard into this industry because I've always been, I don't like taking something if I can make it through. I don't take a painkiller unless the pain is that bad. It's pain, whatever. That's probably why I have a lot of tattoos. Like I can handle it. But yeah, when it hurts, I might take a Vicodin or something midway through. It's more like because I want to sit still so the tattoo comes out because I have a lot of bad tattoos under this. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's important to do things in an orderly fashion. Don't go too hard in the paint right off the bat.
Let me say it.
And brought to you by just kidding.
Yerba mate.
Actually doing pretty good.
What's your stack?
My stack is pretty close to that one. It's while the morning coffee is brewing, which is also very strong, organic Sumatra.
Expect nothing less but organic in everything you say.
I'm doing NAD and then dihexa, tesofensine, fasted. Yep. So it's all kind of going while it's coffee's brewing and I'm not eating. Give myself that 30, 45 minutes. C-Max and Solank. Mm-hmm. So there's not much to make you feel better after that. I mean,
yeah, you already have the love. You're more worldly and into the universal space. You have this overmelting calm, like you can calm me down pretty easily. You can also drive me nuts too, but that's what friends are for, right?
Yeah.
We all can do that. But
when we get the nasal spray done with oxytocin,
well, so
we can just
my
hit
mom
it real quick.
I started my mom on it because she's going through, her fourth stint of cancer, and we're beating it again, thank God. But
actually, let's go a little bit deeper into that one, because you've told me obviously all the story, and I've been around it and I've seen it, but recently, you've kind of come up with a really amazing stack, and your mom has been in remission. So tell me more about that, because that's been fantastic.
Yeah. So, oh God, I usually start crying. I've already cried once telling the story today, so hopefully I can hold it together. But so, I feel like everybody is going to deal with cancer at some point. Like we're living longer. In 1950s, average age, and don't quote me on this thing, but look it up. It's something like the average age of the human being was in their 50s before they died, right? Now we're in our 70s. It's going to be in the hundreds before you know it. And our generation of children now probably going to live to about 150. You're going to start seeing 150-year-olds, and well, we won't, but they're going to start getting there. Well, we all have a million viruses, bacterias, cancers, everything's in your body already. I mean, you have parasites, you name it. You got all this stuff flowing through you, but your immune system is so good that it's keeping all this at battle. Well, my mom lost her battle and had to start dealing with cancer in her 50s. So pretty young. And maybe it was 50s. It was 8 years, almost 9 years ago. So in her 60s, early 60s is when she first got cancer. She had breast cancer. She didn't do the double mastectomy. She did chemo, and she beat it. Okay. Fast forward about 2.5, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, comes back. I'm in this space. I actually know more about it this time. I offer to help old people. Mom's like, no, we're going to go the traditional way. Dad wants to do it this way. And my dad is the most stubborn person on earth. He knows what I do now and what I'm capable of. My dad will not let me help him at all. He refuses to do anything, which drives me nuts. But, so my mom goes, it's metastatic now. It's gone through her lymph node, and she's got this lump about the size of originally like a walnut, or no, like an acorn, on her optic nerve and her jugular. So they actually thought she was having like a brain aneurysm and rushed her to the hospital, and there's nothing wrong with her brain. They found this tumor. So she cancer. All right, start over. So they rush her in because it's by the brain, and they do 2 forms of chemo alternating weeks. So chemo every week, heavy dose, starts in August. By December, they do her PET scan, and it's spread. It's not helped at all. The thing's the size of, an apricot. It's protruding out of her skin. It looks like Quasimodo. And, they go, hey, you got 4 months to live. We're done. We're not going to do anything else. Good luck. Make arrangements. Obviously, we all are crying. This isn't what we want. Mom's going. And I didn't think I was actually going to fix her in this, but I thought, well, maybe I can give her some more time. And it was getting painful, right? It's weird how they work. Sometimes you don't know you have cancer, and then you just die. Like when you get pancreatic cancer, by the time and you start feeling it, it's pretty much killed you. Other ones, they're in your bones. It feels like your bones are breaking. You go through extreme pain for months, if not years, with this thing trying to battle it. Well, my mom was getting to the stage where it was becoming extremely painful. And I'm just thinking maybe I can give her some relief and she can enjoy at least the last 4, 5, 6 months of her life. And so she comes out, I bring her to California, and first thing we do is we got to get her immune system back. She had broken her elbow, torn a ligament in her shoulder, rib issues from falling. She was like 80 pounds. Frail, no immune system. So we're using TA1 complex, methylated vitamin injections, methylated vitamin orals, curcumin shots, epithalon, you name it. I'm throwing everything I can at this thing. And there's a lot more that we have now than even when this started. And we started to get her immune system back. And then we did something that was not an FDA and still is not. We decided to basically take my mom's blood because we can finally get it out of her in March. And we took 3 bags of blood and we combined it with NK natural killer cells, and then reinfused them back into her blood. And, I sent her home April 2nd because my dad didn't come with. He stayed home to watch the dog at the house. And, I didn't know how long she was going to live. So I sent her home, and April 28th, her birthday, her oncologist calls, check in on her, thinking she was probably dead. And my mom picks up. She goes, "Oh, hey, Bonnie, you sound good. How are you feeling?" She goes, "I feel great." "Great, really? Come in." She goes in, she gets a PET scan, and I remember her calling. I'm sitting in the backyard, and I'm sitting with Jahan, and she's like screaming, "You cured me, you cured me." And in 3 weeks, we killed every tumor in her body using that the therapy up to that. And for several PET scans after, for over a couple of years, she was completely cancer-free. We killed it, right? And she was in remission. And then there's a thing that I think a lot of people know, but when you go under anesthesia, you nuke your immune system. So a lot of people don't realize that is so hard on the body to be forced under and put under. And as a young person, it's fine, but that's why they do all those tests on you to make sure you're okay to go under anesthesia. Because you think, "Oh, what's the big deal if you just put somebody under?" Well, that can't be that bad. No, you kill people, right? So that's why anesthesiologists make a lot of money, because they can kill you. And anyway, it totally threw my mom and reactivated her cancer. So she went in to fix her shoulder and the broken bones and everything. And boom, she comes out, cancer spreads. Now she's got one on her carotid artery. And
That's happening right now.
it's happening right now. And it got to the point over, literally, this is like so quick. I mean, we're talking within 2 months. She's got a carotid artery tumor. She can feel it. She starts this weird dry cough. I thought it was because she was smoking so much weed, because she was doing so much weed for the pain for the first one. And doctor's like, "No, it's not from that. It's from this this on her carotid artery. It's kind of this nerve thing going on." And so they start throwing gabapentin in her. And I'm trying to talk my mom. Like I said, "Oh no, the doctor, he's my friend. He's great. He said I can't overdose on gabapentin." She's taking 3,000 milligrams of gabapentin. And what happens? The body, it starts saying, "Nope, this ain't going to work anymore." And it wears off. So at night, you couldn't take any more gabapentin. It just stopped working. And she would just be going through this insane amount of pain, coughing, screaming. And she felt like she was dying. She wanted to die. And so I call around, I talked to, Dr. Joe, and I talked to Dr. Dean, and we kind of did this kind of combined treatment. And what we did is I basically got her and my dad to move to Arizona for this treatment. In the process, she goes to move out there, and she doesn't want to go now. She's like, "I just want to die. I'm in so much pain, Trevor. You have no idea." I said, "Mom, just give me one last chance." I go, if it doesn't work, you have every right to just, I'll buy you a house in the Caribbean. I'll take you on an endless boat ride. I go, "You can do whatever you want to do if you want to die." And so I convinced her. My dad's like, "Thank you," because my dad's calling me saying like she's not going to go. So I get her to go. She gets down there, and the first 2 days into there, she's in so much pain, her actual body starts to shut down. Her blood pressure drops to 18 over 70. She gets hauled to the emergency room. The ER doctor says, "You have a couple days to live. Don't bother with going in and doing any treatments." And I'm in Europe. I'm screaming at my dad to punch the doctor. I'm like, "Get the doctor out of there. I'll go away from my mom. Tell him to my God, like anything. I don't care. Hit the guy. Get him away from my mother." So now I got my mom calling me. She's like, "It's over. I'm done. Don't even bother. I don't even know if you're going to see me by the time you get back." It's often that's when I'm flying back, and I had to go straight out there. I convince her to give it. I go, "Just give me a week." And we get her in there, and we're doing this crazy treatment, and I got her on way more stuff now that this is going on. And what we did was cancer figures out how the body works, and it starts hiding and learns and decides not to do things. So you don't want to take everything for your cancer if you don't have it, right? Don't just go up balls to the wall taking, "Oh, I'm going to take cancer drugs." No, you can't, because it'll know what to do to fight you. So, but cancer, when it's winning, when you get to stage 4, it eats before your other cells. It's winning the war. So when you feed it, it's not that sugar is bad or like sugar is what gives you cancer. Sugar won't give you cancer. But if the cancer is winning and you do put sugar in, that army is eating first. Whatever's left gets to the rest of the other army. So yeah, technically you're giving fuel and resources to the wrong side. But at the same time, you need weight and you need enough on your body to fight. So sometimes you just got to suck it up and eat some stuff, eat some fats, whatever. You need the weight to stay on. But what we did was instead of nuking her with 100% of chemo, one type, which you don't know if it's going to kill everything.
Right.
I bought 8 versions of chemo, and then I dose her at 5% of the norm. But what we do is we trick the cancer, where we cover the chemo in dextrose or cyclodextrin, a sugar source. And then what we do is we have her fast 2 days a week, and we do other protocols in between, and we jam her with insulin, create this environment where there's no sugar in the body, drops below 50. Everything's freaking out. But cancer is the one that gets to eat first, and they need food. You've taken their food, their source away. You've cut off their supply line. And then you just start feeding sugar-coated chemos, very low dose. So my mom doesn't ever feel sick. Wow. She has no hair falling out. She's got tons of energy. And don't worry, there's bad days and good days, but nothing like going through chemo. And you just feed in all these different chemos. And guess what it does? Cancer's like, oh, sugar. Eats all the chemo. Rest of the other army doesn't get poisoned.
Wow.
And then you do lymphatic drainage, red light therapy, you name it. Everything you can think of, even like a aura healer is working on her.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You throw everything at it. And in 1 week, we were able to get her from 3,000 milligrams gabapentin and supposed to be dying in 3 days to you can't even see the tumor anymore. It looks like we've got it reduced about 70% in a week and a half. She's completely off of all painkillers and all gabapentins in less than 2 weeks. Now she's dealing with the repercussions of being on those for 2.5, 3 months. So she's having night scares. She's backed up from all the painkillers, all that kind of stuff, which she was on. But we got her off. She's getting better. I have her on like C-Max Slang, oxytocin nasal, so it's less injections, but get the brain back in order. But she put on 5 pounds this week. She feels good. She's walking the dog. She's eating. She has no symptoms of cancer now. So this is all in like 2 weeks from being dead to this. And we'll do this for another few weeks. And then we're doing a blood draw on Friday. We'll see where all of our markers are at. And if our markers look good, we can go from 2 times a week to once a week. And then we'll do her actual PET scan. And if everything's good, then we go to once a month.
Wow.
But we got to do it ongoing. But then I'm going to also zap her with a NK nebulizer once a month with a
exosomes or stent.
well, I'm going to use NK first, and if there's anything else, then I'll zap her or nail her with a bunch of stem cell exosomes as well. But realistically, this should kind of keep her at bay, and and I know it's going to be more of like a you got to stay on a little bit, but if we can get her to what's one day a month, nothing. Yeah. She's retired.
The impact is so low as compared
to exactly
traditional chemo.
Yeah. So like I said, she doesn't know the chemo symptoms, but yeah, we've completely pretty much eradicated her of chemo. So I actually had meetings with the owner, and I'm getting her all the stuff that I have her on, and we're talking strategy with future patients and so forth.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So
you have the bicep tear, the broken neck, dealing with your mom, which is unbelievable. Would you say that's what drives you to be a pioneer in this industry and not take any advice from, the first person or the first doctor, and it kind of drives you to create new protocols and new peptides and, to kind of be in this arena?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to feel good about this whole entire journey. Well, saving your mom's life is unlike anything you can ever feel. Really, like I've cried a million times from it. In joy, but in also amazement, and also in sadness, knowing that some of my best friends have died from this, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and just like, oh my God, I was a year or two away from maybe saving their lives, and they'd still be here. But yeah, I would love to be a part of or solve. And I spend a ton of money back into this. This is not a money grab. If I wanted to money grab this thing, I could have done it. I could tank the entire industry and just take over the whole American industry. I could, but I don't. I keep my prices high. I have people that I manage for that go lower than me. I'm trying to do this in the right way to make sure that we do this right and it's a sustainable industry going forward. And I want to be a part of solving 100 diseases before I die. I want to eradicate Alzheimer's, Hashimoto's, Parkinson's, you name it, cancers. I want to do all that before I go, and I'll do whatever it takes to do it. And it sucks because you got people that, why do people just hate? Like, people have nothing to do with nothing that get on and make stuff up about you or the company, or yo, be careful. Trevor's manipulating. Where do you see that? Talk to anybody that actually knows, because you've never met me. I don't have any social media. In fact, when they're doing this series about us and where we came from and how we got in this industry and where we're trying to get it to, which is only all positive things. I still live in a very moderate house in Orange. I don't live in a massive beach home in Newport Beach. I don't.
And you've never been about that. You've always been about.
I don't have a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
I'm not driving around in my freaking Hot Wheels car. I do have a 1969 Camaro because I love classic cars, and that was all.
You had to get that one for.
I had to get that, But we talk about it all the time. We keep putting the money in, and we have 15, 20 research projects going right now around with collaborations with other companies, with other scientists. We're constantly evolving. We're pushing every product we can afford. I waste more money than anybody I know just testing things to see if they work. Because if they work, or they kind of work, gives us an avenue to try and fix something else. And then you got Joe Smo over here that's trying to beat you down, saying, "Oh yeah, they're doing this and blah 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 blah." Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, give me a phone call if you think I'm doing something wrong. Right. Talk to me first. But those are the people that are going to hurt the industry. And maybe they work for Big Pharma. I don't know. Maybe that's why they're doing it.
That would make sense.
Because it does. Yeah. You pay a couple people that.
You can see on social media right now, people are getting shadow banned. They talk about any kind of.
They ripped our social media down.
Yeah,
I had educational videos of what I do with peptides. No, they had enough people called and complained about my videos of me just talking about peptides that they shut us down. Well, I wasn't doing anything.
You're just who does that? The peptide.
Talking about peptides.
And not even trying to sell the peptide.
I didn't know.
Information about the peptide.
Just information. Just how they work in the human body. Normal stuff you can Google. I was just trying to make it a little easier. Instead of you trying to read 38 pages of a white paper, I was summarizing it in a 2-minute video. And guess what? People got to hate. They're going to call and rip you apart. And those are the people that are like, if you're in this money grab, I'm not going to help support you. And I tell people, they offer me so much money. And I go, F off. I go, I want nothing. Don't ever call me again. People that are they'll purposely trying to F the whole entire industry up by doing stuff illegally, not staying in compliance. And the compliance thing is tough because it keeps changing because, politics are involved and all this stuff, but which, hopefully we can get, with RFK and, open-minded, not bribed people, we can push this industry really far forward, but God knows how long that really takes. Everything takes a long time in politics and bureaucracy, but we're on the right track. We have like-minded individuals because there is not a single mean or bone in my body that is trying to do anything wrong but help people. So get on the train and let's all do it together. And if I'm doing something, if I can do something better, I'll do it better. Show me how to change it to go down a different path that might be a better path. I'll pivot. And that's what I've always done.
So obviously, you've been growing, month over month, for the past couple of years. You've made some mistakes, obviously, in the beginning. So knowing everything that you know now, what would you change from your journey when you first started in peptides?
Well, let's first start. You know what regret is? A waste of effing time. People regret that don't have enough ambition or drive to figure out what they did wrong and not make the mistake again. It doesn't mean you're never going to make the same mistake again. Sometimes you just go, wow, why'd I do that? I know that was wrong. But everything you've been through, I've invested with people that turned out to be scumbags and ate $500,000 million more in some cases. I've tried things that I sit there and go, yeah, that didn't work out, but it was worth a shot. But you know what you do? You just take every piece of these different parts of the story, and you learn from them. And you realize, maybe you shouldn't work with people that come like this or say these things. It is what it is. But if I can look back and pivotal changes, yeah, I wouldn't work with a couple different individuals that just had no right being on this side. I think I'd also, obviously hindsight's always 2020. You and I have put in 20 hours a day, 7 days a week for well over a year. When was the last time you went on a vacation or had a weekend where you didn't work at least 4 hours?
Yeah, no matter what. Always.
Doesn't matter. I went to Europe.
Yeah.
I worked 6 to 8 hours every day while I was in Europe, if not longer.
But
and I met with clients.
You're happy doing it.
Yeah, I don't mind doing it at all.
Yeah,
but at the same time, every human, we do need
to shut it off a little bit.
Yes, we got to do that. So, I think obviously I see the path now, and I would have hired certain positions earlier so that we could be more organized in some ways. But you don't know. This is you're trailblazing.
Yeah.
I had someone who was telling me, like, okay, where do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years? I go, we haven't even, I'm looking right there. There's pavement right here, and that is dirt and rock and mud. I'll tell you where I want to be this month.
Right.
And I know, yeah, sure, I want to solve every disease in 10 years. But the reality is, we're building a foundation and projecting, and we're investing to grow as fast as we can in the areas. But you, as much as I'd love to look 5 years down the road, right now it's realistically 6 months, and you don't know what is going to change legislation wise. So you can go building this whole direction, and then they go, oh, you got to go this way. So, you just
lots of pivots.
It's a lot of pivoting.
Was there ever a moment where you kind of thought this isn't working?
No. There was frustrating times where I just wanted to, beat my head against the wall, because you're sitting there going, why is this happening to me? I'm a good person. But no, because no matter what, if it all just stayed the same right now, or it ended right now, how many people's lives would change? 1 million? Me and Jay were trying to figure this out. How many people's lives do you think you've affected? We've sold millions and millions and millions of vials, which means there's millions and millions and millions of help, right? How many people? Now, not everything works for everybody, but I'll tell you right now that, giving somebody a statin because of their cholesterol, I took one of those for 2 weeks before I got off because I thought I was going to die. That didn't help me, right? But not only did it not help me, but I almost died on it. The pain was so excruciating, and I was passing out. It was weird. Statins do not agree with me. So, but you look at these drugs and how many people, I feel like, your cholesterol's, you're almost at the max. You should get on a statin. What? No, there's a lot of other things you do first before you start throwing. But those things negatively affect people day in and day out, like ruin their circulatory system, their legs. And they go, someone that was athletic and could go to the gym feels so bad they can't even get to the gym, and then they go overweight, and those things ruin people's life. If something doesn't work on our site, no one's lives are getting ruined. It doesn't ruin. Move on to something else. Oh, sorry, you had a little irritation in your injection site. People forget, well, you did stick a needle on yourself, right? So there is irritation. But because it doesn't have this whole background, people will shove any drug in themselves and get addicted to Oxy or Xanax or sleep aids or take a statin that makes them feel like they got hit by a car every day and go, this is normal. Yet if they do an injection, like, oh God, it hurt for a couple of days, that you guys are crazy, you're done. Oh, I'm reporting you. It's like, you're fine. Like, really, this is not a long-term problem. Yeah, sorry,
My doctor said so.
but yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. So for some reason, people have this warm blanket effect from the doctors, but the doctors don't care anymore.
No.
And then there are good doctors. Trust me, we deal with a lot of good doctors, and there's a lot of doctors that just they don't mean to be bad. They're not trying to be evil. They just don't know anything. And when they don't know, their automatic opinion is don't do it. It's bad because they don't want to be wrong.
And because like they've been educated that these medications that went through the FDA system, got approved through that, are the only ones that are good.
Drew, you probably know more of it. Do you know what all of our drugs are made out of?
Petroleum based?
Petroleum.
I'm a conspiracy theorist, so that's why you asked me.
No. He's one of the few that know. All of our drugs are made out of oil. Oil is not good for you.
No.
Okay. So
But somebody had a stake in oil.
Well, this is what happens.
This was
What does the
created.
oil industry do 80 years ago to make sure that at some point they know everybody's got to look at the future and go, this isn't going to last forever. The Rockefellers or whatever, what was it? Standard Oil, I think it was, invested heavily in making sure that petroleum products were used in medications.
Allopathic medicine and
Right? So all of a sudden, allopathic medicine is all petroleum based. So you're literally poisoning your body with everything. That's why they have so many side effects. And everybody is suckling at the tit of oil all day long, taking all this stuff, just completely destroying it. That's why I have I remember watching during the Super Bowl. This is a $4.5 million ad. And bright, shiny rainbows. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, I know what drug this is going to be. This has got to be something for depression. So sure enough, is your day sad? Let's get to a brighter light. Da, 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 da. And at the end, they got to tell you all the side effects. First side effect of a drug being sold for depression. First thing, suicidal thoughts.
severe vomiting, diarrhea,
diarrhea,
may cause death.
May cause death, kidney failure, liver failure. I'm sitting here going, wait. The first side effect of the depression medication is suicidal thoughts. Isn't it supposed to stop suicidal thoughts? If I'm watching this, I go, I'm not taking that drug.
Yep.
But they have enough money to put $5 million ads on TV. So somebody's spending a lot of money on this. And who's pushing this? What doctor reads this and goes, I want to put my patient on this one?
Sounds like a great idea.
Yes, yeah. You know what? Can I get a 2-year retainer out of this? I'm going to put you on this new drug, but I got to make sure that I get my money out of this because you might just jump off a cliff tomorrow. Come on.
And you think about if we could make that same commercial for a peptide, like say BPC, what would it sound like?
Side effects, irritation and injection site.
And
nothing else.
And
let me go through the 87 things it does great for you. Like, because it would be like a 4.5 minute ad, and you'd be speaking this fast the whole time. The BBC is used for here, and like you couldn't even rattle off everything how good it is for you.
Can you just take BBC just for fun? I mean, not for fun, but like just take it on a daily basis, even though it's wrong.
I don't believe in taking anything on a daily basis if you don't have anything wrong or there's no reason to, but it is so safe. It only lasts in the system for 4 hours. And it does do a lot. So it could be aiding things that you do need it for. But, for me, mine is start small or start less than anybody's telling you. And you can slowly go up, right? Figure out your body first, because you might have a really good receptor. It's nice not to spend the money either. I mean, if you can use a half a bottle or 1 bottle instead of 3, save the money, get the same result, right?
I feel like you have really good receptors for a lot of this stuff, though.
I do. I am really good at fending off alcohol. It's really hard to get me drunk, and I don't get hangovers. But I mean, like anything, I eat ice cream every single day, and people hate me for this stuff. They're like, shut up.
I definitely hate him for this.
Yeah, I mean, I
try to eat ice cream every night. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like a good solid frozen yogurt every night of the week.
One night we were somewhere on the road working, and we went out to eat, and he asked everyone if they wanted ice cream, and we're just kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then all of a sudden, a DoorDash driver came to the restaurant with like a Blizzard type of thing from.
Oh, they were Sonic.
From Sonic.
I ordered 4 of them.
Like a cookies and cream thing from Sonic.
I had Reese's, cookies and cream, all this stuff. And no one wanted them, so I ate all 4.
And he wakes up 3% body fat.
Yeah.
Got to be the peptides.
Yeah, we got to be peptides. I mean, by the way, I was fat at one point. Not like obese, but I was a solid 237, 28% body fat. So I had multiple chins. I definitely did not have a sexy body. I was dad bodied to heck. So it can go that way, but yeah, now you go so far the other direction. At some point, it almost becomes harder to be fat than not, and anybody can. I think anybody. I right now, if you said, "Hey, open budget," or even give me a small budget, and just say, "Okay, we want you." No monetary like supplement at all. We just want you to go out and figure out how to deal with obesity. I guarantee you within 3 years, me, Jay, a few of the other guys that are in the industry that just want to see this stuff work, and there's a bunch of them out there, we could go out there and solve obesity worldwide for a fraction of the cost. And by the way, getting rid of obesity in the right way, which means, making sure that people are getting nutritional shakes in if they're not eating enough, because it does hurt that, and make sure people aren't taking so much that they're throwing up every day, and dealing with muscle wasting, and making sure people do something, even just walking on a treadmill, whatever it might be, doing everything right. We could end obesity. And on top of that, everybody that does this project would actually save money from all the eating habits that they have during that time. It's virtually free.
Yep.
I could do this for zero additional costs to the human society if they let us do it the right way. But that won't happen because too many people can make $2,000 a month on, the current medications that are out there. They're not going to let you do this for people for $50.
So when you looked in the mirror and you saw the dad bod, what was kind of like the final straw of like, I'm going to get optimized? Was it like you saw your blood work, you felt a certain way? Like, what was that?
I think what it really was is someone threw up a picture of me when I was in my early 20s, and they said, "Remember when you look like this?" And it was the picture of me.
Mm.
So I went through like this 5-year transformation of proving that person wrong. That's one thing. If you ever dare me to do something, and as long as it's not illegal, there was probably a few dares that were illegal. But if you tell me to dare me to do anything that's not, I'm not going to do anything bad, but I'll probably take you up on it. If I have any inkling that I might be able to do it, I'll do it. And they sent me that, and I go, I could get back there. I'm like, sure you can. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to get there. I'm going to be back. So I just went full bore in it. And I looked better for 2 or 3 years, but I didn't look great. But you had to get all that. I had to get 50 pounds off of me. And then I took forever to get the weight back on. People don't realize how important eating is. If you want to lose weight or gain weight, you need to eat more.
Right.
I know that sounds weird, but if you want to go from 185, I weigh 235 right now, 3% body fat on an in-body scan. If to get there, I eat 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day. So I eat ice cream because I need more calories because I don't have fat or anything to cannibalize on my body.
Right.
So I just start eating muscle tissue if I start losing weight. So I need to eat. I don't mind if I did get to 3.5% or 4% because at least it gives me a cushion that I could not eat so much one day. I sometimes eat till I'm uncomfortable to make sure that I eat enough. But I try and eat every 2.5 to 3 hours, something. 30 to 50 grams of protein, at least matching carbs with a little bit of fat. And I try and do that every 2.5 to 3 hours. Greek yogurts, turkey meat, Chick-fil-A sandwich. And God, someone ruined that for me. They showed me what's in a Chick-fil-A sandwich now.
Oh, 126 ingredients in a
what the hell happened? I thought it was chicken.
hot bun.
I thought it was chicken and some spices and a bun. Now all of a sudden I go, what is all this stuff?
Frankenstein.
Yeah. So anyway, that ruined it. I still had it yesterday. Mom wanted it, and she's going through cancer treatment, so I was with her, so I ate it. But otherwise, I would have gotten in and out. But you had to. But if you want to lose weight, eat 5-6 meals a day. Eat small amount of meals with the right macros. Watch, you'll start losing weight because your metabolism never stops and you never blast your insulin levels because you're just kind of releasing a little bit of insulin to deal with your sugar and your carbohydrates and your glucose levels instead of eating a giant meal. And then all of a sudden, because you've been starving yourself all day because you think that's the way to do it. So your metabolism shuts off and then you're like, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got to get back into this thing. And you just ate, 400 carbs at once because that's your one meal. Well, guess what? You don't have enough insulin to pull 400 carbs out of your body.
So it's going to be high the entire day.
Well, that's the thing. And then what happens is that carb is stuck in you after a few hours. The body goes, well, this isn't supposed to be in here. Store it as fat. But if you eat a little bit all day long, you could eat all the things you love, but you just keep the metabolism going and eat them in smaller amounts, and your body can react and do that and keep your insulin sensitivity good instead of throwing it off.
Yeah, I think the funniest conversation is trying to tell someone to eat 150 grams of protein and they get asthma, and then they can easily drink a Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts 100 carbs in one drink.
Yes.
And it's
mind-blowing
to me.
I'm drinking this because of liquid base and I needed a little bit of caffeine, but this one can has 56% of my daily sugar. 56% in a single can. It's organic at least, but I can see that, if you drink 2 of these, you haven't even eaten anything today and you're done with your glucose.
Jesus.
You're screwed, right? So yeah, this is really bad, but whatever.
So let's talk
live on the
about
edge.
Wait, but then how does it make sense when people like lose a ton of weight off of fasted diets? They fast.
Well, so if you fast long, so there is theory, right? Okay, so if you go in a real fasted diet, and we're not talking about,
intermittent fasting.
I fasted from when I went to bed till I ate breakfast.
That's called a normal day.
That's
why
normal
it's called
day.
Break fast.
Yeah.
Breakfast.
Yeah. So that you already do that. When you go multiple day fasting, your body eventually goes through this point where it starts going to whatever source it can. And the only energy source on your body is your fat, right? So it'll start chiming that. You can fast and lose weight, but what happens when you break a fast? Your body will then, since you just did that to yourself, it will hold everything you eat back on. The pendulum comes the other way. So you got to be really smart and understand how your body reacts to those diets because they're not traditional. They can be, and by the way, resetting receptors, there are really good things about intermittent fasting in general. I knew a guy that went 22 days.
Wow.
No food, lemon water and cayenne pepper, I think is what all I had. Right. And he said, he goes like by day 5 or 6, I didn't even need food anymore. And it was this point where it was, how long should I really go with this before this is a bad idea kind of thing? And I don't know where he ended. I talked to him on day 22.
Wow.
You
got to do that.
He's not a friend. He was a friend of ours.
Like your physician or something.
Yeah. You better make sure that you're not, you do not want to go too far there. Eventually, but I don't know what had happened to his body after. Okay. So I went through, it wasn't fasting, but I totally calorie degraded my body during bodybuilding. That to get to that look like you're a stone statue on stage, it's really hard on the body to do. And I'm still eating and it's hard. My numbers on a blood report looked like I was dead and I was still eating 1,100 to 1,400 calories a day. Think about that. Eliminated them all. Oh God, that could be really hard. You really need to know what you're doing. That's all I'm saying. People do this thing because they think it's cool or they listen to some idiot online or they watched Instagram. Okay, cold plunge. All you cold plungers out there. If you do that after your workout, moron, sorry. I don't want to call you a moron, but you don't know how the body works. You create inflammation during your workout that is good for developing and growing muscle tissue. Then you jump in an ice bath immediately afterwards and shut it off. Not the right time to cold plunge, people. Okay? That's not how you're supposed to do it. Now, injuries. You look at these athletes, real athletes that go out there like Olympians, people that do, the Ironman races. They are physically wounding their body with injuries and creating massive amounts of bad inflammation. Cold plunge helps get rid of that inflammation so you can get in there and repair the muscle tissue. Doing it on a daily basis because someone said it was cool and it does all this goes on. Yeah, but you don't know the science. Just like people don't realize that how insulin works inside the body. It's beyond. It's not because you're dumb. It's because you've just listened to somebody because they came up with this and they made it sound really cool. And it's
it's trending and you want to make a video yourself.
Yeah, look at I done it. And they do this every single day thinking it's like, no, it's not how you're supposed to do it. And I'm sure someone's going to go, oh no, I have a study that says this. No, sorry.
There's a study for everything.
There's a
right?
study for everything, but really look at it. That's not the right way. Cold plunge, really good for you in situational. You want to do something that's good for you every day, go in a sauna. Nothing wrong with going to a sauna.
I love the infrared sauna.
Yeah, that's good for you. Red light therapy, keep going.
Let's
So
talk.
shower after the gym.
I mean, you're fine taking a lukewarm or a cold-ish shower, but dipping your entire body in an ice bath immediately after workout, you're destroying all the work you put in working out. Because there's good inflammation. Not all inflammation is bad.
So speaking of people doing the wrong things, people that are new to peptides, what would you say that most people get wrong?
Dosing and understanding measurements is number one by far.
How do you get the powder out of the vial?
Oh my God. They're like, so I had to put this powder in the water. How does that work? No. But honestly, figuring out dosage, understanding, like I said, it's the same realm as the cold plunge thing. Peptides are cool. They jump in, they don't do any research. I always recommend if you do have a doctor that understands what they're doing or a physician, you should talk to them because I don't know your body. I can't really make an educated. So people ask me, how do I do this or what? I'm like, I don't know. I can tell you how things work and I know what I've done for me based on my body. But, someone was talking to me about cerebral iacin the other day and okay, how much should I give my patient? I go, I don't know your patient. I don't even know what you're using it for. How do you want me to do it? What? I don't know. What? So, I think
they're just so used to it from like the pharmaceutical reps.
I
teach them about.
But that's the whole problem. People just,
5 milligrams of this.
that's what I'm saying. People just take things without like looking at what they're, so I say dosing is the number one thing. People are so used to, if a little is good, more must be better. And it doesn't work that way.
Especially with GLPs and PT-141.
Oh God. Yes. Yeah. Do not take too much PT-141 and end up in, by the way, that's FDA approved. Do not end up in a hospital with chingadera that you can't get to go down. You got to drain it. Not good.
Oh man.
I've known a few people. In fact, I know someone that dealt with it themselves. 22 syringes, and it could have been 18, but it was a giant tray of bloody bent syringes from him pulling the blood out himself. But he didn't get it from PT-141. Actually, that was from the Trimix.
Trimix.
Yeah, where you actually what porn stars use.
Ooh.
I actually had it. And I'm like, oh, I can't do it.
Yeah,
I don't want to go to the hospital.
I've heard too many stories. What do you mean when you say peptides aren't magic? They're tools.
Okay, so I think everything you have in life is a tool for something else, right? And people always go, well, when you get off, will you go right back? Well, let's talk about anything in life. If you took away your car, would you be able to get to work every day? No. If you decided, you eat well every single day and you've lost weight, if you decide to go back to eating fast food and McDonald's every day, are you going to get fatty? Yes. If you, start drinking again, or if you decide to anything, right? Everything is technically a tool. So if you use these to give yourself an advantage to get to a destination, a point, or a goal, you can do it. If you just cut it all out and don't change anything else about your life, the pendulum's coming right back.
Right.
Now, what the goal is for peptides is that hopefully this stimulates a change in you and your habits. So if you're 200 pounds overweight, 80 pounds overweight, 30 pounds overweight, and you want to lose weight, do it. But what are you going to do to make sure you keep the weight off? You need to change something else. That one thing. But I get it. If you're 80 pounds overweight, it's hard to go to the gym and get a good workout in. You can't get on treadmill. You do need the tool to get you there. So use the tool in conjunction. I get it. Maybe you can only walk 5 minutes the first time, but still get there 5 days a week. Walk for 5 minutes. Eventually you'll be at 6, 7, 8, 9. Who knows? Maybe you'll run a marathon.
A bridge to a new timeline, right?
Exactly.
But you have to replace those bad habits with.
Yeah, maybe you don't have any,
habits.
maybe they're not bad habits. You just don't even have a habit. You need a good one, right? And I get it. I'm not saying, we all got a different deck of cards. We all have different things that we have challenges with. But whatever that is, if you're going to use the tool to get you to a certain place, make sure you do it. And it could be just things like cutting out soda. At least do that, right? The pendulum won't come back. You'll probably lose weight. You'll probably put a little bit back on if you get off completely. But then maybe you just run a low dose that isn't going to affect, because they're actually, GLPs show a lot of promise for helping a lot of things, with, bones, kidneys, heart, brain function. So go from a high dose to get you to where you are, or built up dose over time, because you kind of have to take more. You do titrate up at some point. And when you come back, maybe you just have to run a really low, modest dose just to keep your blood sugar in line and all that. And you can keep 90% of that weight off because you also developed some good habits and started eating better, and you're in a good spot. And then guess what? Then you won't need it at all, because if those good habits turn into lifestyle changes, and now you're hitting the gym and lifting weights and burning calories that way, all of a sudden you don't eat any of that. Now you have to start eating more just to keep the weight on that you put on. Right. You can go, the pendulum can stay up. You're in a new clock. Right. You went from a fat clock to now you're trying to keep the athletic clock going. Right. Right. And then maybe you're a competitor clock. I don't know, but you gotta use the tools the right way, and then know that eventually that tool will either burn out or not work anymore if you abuse it.
Why do you think it's a problem when people stack too many peptides right out of the gate?
You don't know what they do. I mean, no one should. Okay. I take a lot of peptides, right? You take a lot of peptides. We've been doing it a long time. And I've actually reduced on how I take some of my peptides, because I think that I've even gone sometimes too far with how long I run them for or whatever, where I go, I don't know if this is really doing what I needed to do anymore. So I get off to see, right? And there was times I got off a few things and I go, okay, I do feel a little bit more groggy, a little more foggy than I used to be, right? Or maybe I didn't have as much energy in the day. It's like, okay, cool. I know that is doing something. There's no like, oh, I'm tired. I can't believe I'm off of this. But, I maybe, a little bit of a hypochondriac in that sense, because you're looking for any detail, because you can make anything up in your mind. And maybe it really wasn't that bad, but just me thinking about it. But I started backing off. So when you're starting, like I said, start with no more than one peptide in a category. So one thing for weight loss, so you know if it's working. One thing for anti-aging, so you know how you feel from it. One thing for brain, so you know how that's affecting the brain. And once you've been on that for a month or two or whatever it might be, and you know how you feel on it, then add another thing in, right? Because
you don't know what's working.
Yeah, it does say you take 10 things and you run out of money.
Yeah, who gets the credit for this one?
Yeah. You don't know which one of those was doing the most for you.
No, absolutely. I did the same. I started with one at a time to see what they did, and then slowly started 50%
of my sugar done for the day right there.
All right, you talked about consistency. What does a typical day look like when you're on a peptide protocol?
So all the time. Okay, so I get up every morning. My alarm is for 5:30 on any general day. I usually wake up about a half hour before that, go to the bathroom, lay back down in bed, try and take a 15-minute nap, and I get up at 5:30 to 5:40 in the morning, because I get lay there and I start doing text messages, emails. But usually get up around 5:30, and then I run two different kind of days. So I'd say I try and work out about 6 days a week. So I do a 4 or 5 on, 1 day off kind of routine. And obviously travel and stuff like that, I kind of have to manipulate it a little bit. But of those days, I do 1 day, 2 if I know I'm going to get 6 workouts in for sure, where I eat a lot of food before I go to the gym to create an insulin reaction to actually help stimulate and build more muscle tissue. And then the other days I do a fasted workout, so that what am I using for my energy source in the morning? Whatever fat or sugar or anything I have in my body that I can use, which helps keep a lot of my weight off of me, or keeps it off. A lot of people have a hard time working out fasted. I don't, because I'm so used to it. And I also use a amino acid shake and
BCAAs or something.
Yeah, exactly. Because they don't have any calories, but they help with keeping your energy levels up. So, I do, that is kind of the routine I work. And I change my workout probably every month to 2 months. I either change what I'm working out, or I go from maybe higher rep or drop set workouts to maybe a single body part and lower weight for a couple of weeks, just to kind of keep the body tricked. But I do my workout. I work out for about an hour and a half. I don't really do any cardio unless I'm trying to get rid of like weight for some reason for a show. And then I know that's bad. You should get on at least walk. It's good, but I move a lot, so I don't really worry about that. And then from there, I go home and I eat almost the same thing every morning. I eat 15 egg whites with 2 full eggs. I eat oatmeal with a scoop of peanut butter and a banana. And that's my breakfast. And then from there, I drink mainly water the entire day. And then I eventually, like I said, I break like as like my mini meals in between my main meals. I do like Greek yogurts with blueberries and stuff like that. And then I try and eat a nice fun dinner. And then I try not to drink during the week much anymore because I'm too busy. And I try and limit my alcohol to maybe 2, max 3 days a week. And then the days where I get to eat early, I try and eat as much food as possible that day. So I drink, my coffee or my latte with a bunch of real sugar in it. I have maybe some more. I have like a juice or 2 during the day instead of water all day, and I create this, kind of, back and forth movement between my body where, I can actually throw a lot of weight on it, and then the next few days I use that, whatever that is, to convert that into muscle mass. That's what works for me.
What do you think are the top 3 traps beginners fall into when using peptides?
I think the traps. Actually, that's a good question. I don't know what traps people fall. I think maybe one is listening to their friends and then lying to themselves about something working.
Right.
I think they just need to stop and trust themselves.
Or maybe, they can't afford something, so they know they need 4 vials, but they just get 1.
Correct.
And
That's
then
not,
it's
doesn't
done.
do anything. Save your money and do it right. Or you probably look at something else. And this is the thing. At some point, or you got to give up something that maybe you do love that you're wasting your money on. I know people that drink Starbucks 2-3 times a day. That's 12 to $20 a day. Okay. And that's every day. So that's $600 a month that they are throwing on Starbucks every single month. Now, let's just say they cut out and they still had Starbucks, but they cut it to 1 time a day. They save $400. With $400, you can buy a lot of peptides. So maybe you got to look at what's important to you.
Right.
And if taking peptides is that important to you, do them right and cut something else out that you can save a few bucks. Cook at home 1 more meal a day. I mean, no joke. I don't know about you, but California, Carl's Jr. is $30.
It's very expensive to eat out.
Anything. Del Taco is $20 now. So if you just cut out, I know people that don't cook. Every meal is ordered somewhere, shape, or form finished for them. Not only is probably a lot of that food really bad for you, how much processing crap that's in there, but eat something yourself that's healthy, but you're going to save enough money. If you cut 1 meal a day, that's enough to buy peptides.
Facts.
There's a lot of people that try to save money by trying to find
Cheaper product.
Yeah. I mean,
sourcing is definitely a huge thing right now.
Yeah. I'm not going to crap in anybody's cereal here. There is stuff that comes from China that is perfectly acceptable and really good quality. There is. I mean, a lot of the raw materials that we use to manufacture come from China, India, Japan, all over the world, right? They make they make all your pharmaceuticals, by the way. We don't make anything here in this country. So if you don't buy anything from China, well, guess what? Everything that you see on the shelf at Target or CVS, it's all from China. So guess what? You already are. But so there is stuff. But I think what you got to look at is when you start getting to the people that they're charging this really discounted rate, like, oh my God, how are they doing it? Well, they're not testing anything and they're buying whatever they can get for cheapest. And when you get into that realm and you're not testing things, you end up getting a lot of fake stuff or a lot of stuff that's just not the quality that's there. So, and it's probably not going to kill you. But if you're trying to buy a Wolverine stack that's got 10 milligrams of TB500 or whatever, if you were to test it, maybe it really only has 5 and 5. So you really probably should have just bought the other one that wasn't even twice the price kind of thing. And then on top of that, because you don't realize that something is so drastically underdosed or the purity level is 94 instead of 99, when you're taking such a minimal amount because you're basing it on what you think it is, that it's not doing anything anyway. So it's actually like not taking anything because you've severely underdosed it to effect. So if you don't know, or you're not buying from a reputable company that you know has built trust in the environment that we're in, or shows you exactly what they're doing, just beware. You might be wasting your money.
You said you're not selling vials. You're trying to share what saved your life. Why is that distinction so important to you?
Because I've always had the mentality that if you help people, the money will always show up later, right? And it has. You just keep helping people. I mean, how many people have we spent hours and hours on the phone that nothing's ever come from it? And then one day they come back and you get that, that golden nugget. They come back and they bring you something. Yeah, we're ready. Or you find out that, you saved their life. Like, you put all this time in, and don't get me wrong, time is precious. It's one of the most precious things we have. But you help him, and you sit there and go, man, nothing ever came of that. You don't even know what happened. You feel like you're a little bit like used in these cases. Or, these people, you go, were they just trying to get all this information so they can go do their own thing? Whatever, right? But then you find out down the road that, you help save their daughter's life or something like that. And then they're involved and they've told everybody to use you, and they maybe never really fulfilled what they wanted to do. They never started the business. There's a guy, Rob, that I've been talking to for months and months and months. Never done anything, but I know he's not going anywhere else. He's, and I know he tells everybody about it. So we've maybe picked up things around the road indirectly, that help. So, do the right thing, the vials will go, and, you just don't deal with anybody that's the opposite poisonous.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of touched on that, but you're always telling me this, people, your mom, my family, people you talk to, they DM you and they say, man, you've changed my life. Like, how does that make you feel?
I don't know how many times I've cried with people, and I don't know. I'm one of those people that it's hard. I don't like getting surprised, and I'm really bad at compliments. I feel very awkward.
Right.
I work really hard to look and be able to do what I do. And then when you tell me, I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm like, all right. Like, it's more fun if I talk about it. But when you like, dude, you look at him like, yeah, you do too. Like, I'm like, don't compliment me. I'm like, yeah, I'm just doing the best I can. But sometimes you get cornered and you sit there and you have to be in that moment. And I remember we were at when we were at the convention.
A4M or
the second one
in Vegas.
Yeah, the Peptide conference.
Yep.
And we threw the event for all of our customers, and we had 600 people there, and it was a ton of fun. And we had never met many of these people. It's all Zoom calls, phone calls, right? And even on a Zoom, you have no idea of height, weight, the color could be off, whatever, right? You get to be like, oh yeah, And this young lady came up to me and she goes, hey, I just really would like to get a picture with you. I'm like, I don't know why anybody wants to take a picture with me. So I'm like, all right, yeah, of course. And she goes, I don't know if you remember me, but I sell your peptides. And I got into it because you saved my life. And I go, oh no, you saved your own life, kind of thing. And it's true. She made the decision to do it, but she was attacked by a dog, and the dog was that, but she ended up creating a fracture in her leg, and the fracture net wouldn't heal. And 2.5 years she couldn't walk, and looked like this degenerative bone. And she was watching my videos that somebody got shut down. Thanks, whoever decided to do that, that I'm trying to help people with. She was watching the videos and she ordered peptides, and she took the peptides, and she was walking at our party saying, no, you saved my life. I hadn't walked in 2.5 years, and you sit there and you go, holy shit. Like, that's,
and it makes all those 20-hour days.
Yeah. I mean,
worth it, and feel,
if I got buried today, I don't have any regrets, and I know my impact of what I've done. And I hope anybody that decides to try and put people like us down that are trying to help know what you're really doing. You're affecting so many people's life. You are scum of the earth. If I'm doing something blatantly wrong, please, all day long. But we're making a difference and we're changing people's lives for the better. And those kind of stories, there's hundreds and thousands of them. And some of them are as simple as, helping a guy that hasn't had sex in 20 years and he's single, hasn't had a wife, scared to date, embarrassment. And then they try PT 141 and then they call you and go, I had sex for the first time in 20 years. And as dumb as that sounds, that is a huge part of everybody's life.
It's like a blind person being able to see.
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge.
Yeah. I mean, and gosh, we're getting close to that, by the way. I don't know if you've seen some of the stuff they're doing that with the implants, which is not peptide related, but I mean, you're talking about people that were blind and they're putting this on people opening eyes and they're seeing. Now, I don't know if they're seeing what they're exactly seeing because they've never seen before. Right. But they're seeing things. Holy, what a lifestyle change. And now think if we can do that, I'm all for a robotic arm or an eye that I can just zoom in. Trust me, I'm in. But if we're starting that process through peptides, because peptides are all natural and your body uses these things so it knows what they are. I mean, we have ones now for eyesight, right? To help with your eyes. So if you are starting to have degenerative eye disease, or you're starting, you're starting to go nearsighted or farsighted, I don't know, try one of the bioregulators for your eyesight. Who knows? Maybe you go, whoa, I don't need to go get eye surgery now. I can last 10 or 15 more years. Who knows?
That's huge.
It's huge.
Why do you believe people need to fight for their own healing?
Okay. You see the person on and you try and help and they just don't, and you do everything you can, they just don't want to do it for themselves. Why do I got to do the work for you? So if you want to make a change in your life, you gotta be the first one to fight for it. And, people come to me and, oh, this didn't work, or, I rebounded, but they don't fight for keeping that momentum. You have to do it. You have to make the change. It all starts with you. It's not, like I said, I make tools. You control your life. You have to fight for whatever you want. And if you don't want it, then it's not that important to you until it is. And when people say, why invest in taking peptides? Because you can't afford not to. Whatever you don't do now, think about what's later on in your life. Think about how much things get amplified. Think about the people that move every day, stay in shape. They walk, they go out, they converse with people, they keep the brain sharp, they keep learning. It's not just about the physical, it's the brain too. You got to need both. Think about those people that just constantly actively do things, right? And you sit there and they're like, oh yeah, I'm 82. And you're like, oh my God, you look great. You're sharp, all this stuff. Because they never stopped believing who they were and working on themselves. When you sit there in your 30s and 40s and just give up, what do you think 60 is going to look like?
And what you do in your 60s is what 70s look like, and 70s is what 80s look like.
If you make it.
A lot of people, they
don't ever make it. You have to fight for your life, and you need to know what's going on in your body. Go get a blood test. You need to really look at it, and you need to make the changes to make it. And don't get me wrong. There's some things, markers that I don't know. They may not mean anything to you. So don't always overreact. But, oh my God, your cholesterol is high. Do you realize the cholesterol level went from 300 to 200? So, I'm at 220. I'm going to die. Put me on. No. Let's just reevaluate. Let's now maybe try and clean up the diet a little bit. But even then, if it does stay there, maybe it's genetic. Maybe you don't have anything wrong with you. You just run high. So maybe before you start throwing pills at it, why don't you go check your heart?
Right.
Oh, you don't have anything wrong there. I went through that. They tried throwing me on statin. I freaked out because of what they told me. I take a statin. I'm like 2 weeks in. No, I don't care if I die of a heart attack tomorrow. I am not taking this crap. Got off everything. I finally get my heart mapped 3 months later. They kill me on the table, by the way. No joke. I go in, I'm dealing with my heart. They're freaking me out. They think I have a 50% blockage in my heart. I'm sitting there going, well, I got another project. I'm looking at this positive, like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to unblock this thing. And I'll have another on the list that I did, right? I'm not scared of this thing at all. People are like, you're not scared. I'm like, no, I'll deal with it when I know what's really wrong, right? I hadn't done the heart mapping. So I finally get into this thing, and they're, it looks like you're in Star Trek, this giant thing going around you. And they have to give you essentially dynamite, right? The base of dynamite, nitroglycerin, to map your heart. Well, when they give you this nitroglycerin, it makes you feel all kind of funny. You're laying there. My heart rate started speeding up, and I was at 80 beats per minute. So they're trying to map this thing, and it's just not catching because I'm beating too fast. So they go, hey, we're going to just slow you down a little bit. We're going to give you a beta blocker. Apparently I'm allergic to beta blockers. So, okay, they're giving me a beta blocker, and I'm just laying there, and all of a sudden I went from nobody there to 6 people around me. Like instantaneously. There was no light, there's none of that. But my heart just goes, right? It stopped my heart, and then beep, I came back. But by the time I came back, they were already running in there. I had all these people around me. Wiggle your feet. Can you talk, Trevor? How you feeling? I'm like, I feel kind of sick and sweaty and cold. They're like, well, I'm looking over, and I have 18 beats a minute. I'm like, that doesn't look good. And they're like, yeah, your heart stopped. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. It turned into what was supposed to be like a 15-minute scan into 2 hours of me being there. But anyway, I get done with this lovely adventure. I go on a groove cruise afterwards and have a great 4 days of my life, knowing that you can only die once in a week. You're not allowed to die twice. So I went hard on the pain on my trip, had a good time. And 3 weeks later, I finally had my cardiologist call me. Luke's dad. Thank you. Luke, thank you for introducing me to your father. Great guy. Very important in the cardiology world too. He's up there. He looks at me and goes, yeah, your heart looks like a 10-year-old. You're fine. I go, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, you got nothing. No plaque. No build up, nothing. You're fine. So my VLDL, which is something that no one ever tests for because it's so weird if it's off. My cholesterol, LDL and HDL is always normal. But I was having all these readings where my CK levels looked like I was having heart attacks. And Zach's calling me. He's like, are you having heart attacks? I'm like, would I know if I was having a heart attack? He's, yeah, you'd be. I'm like, then I'm not having heart attacks. Right. I'm like, I'm not like, ugh. So he goes, yeah, your levels are really off. I need to do blood tests. And then sure enough, they come in. So VLDL, most of the planet is a 1, a 2, or a 3. And the scale is 1 to 20. And you don't even have a problem until you're over 20. I was at 122. And that's how this whole entire thing started. So instead of like, I'm not following my own advice right now, but now instead of sitting there and going, okay, let's look at the next thing. Maybe it's a misread or whatever. They throw it and they come, oh, it's a low dose. You won't even feel it. But like I said, I felt it. I got rid of it. I'm like, I'm going to go down. I got to check the work, right? Look at it. I'm fine.
All right. Last question before we get into the rapid fire questions.
Oh boy.
What's your ultimate goal with this platform? And what do you hope that people will walk away with?
I've said it once before, 100 diseases cured, solved, stopped before I die. And whatever that takes to get there, I'm in. So that's the goal. And you know what? That goes along with saving people's lives and all this stuff, but I think it's really cool. Build new friendships, build new, build changes in lives and network and just help educate. Education is like the biggest piece of this. There's so much misinformation, the right information.
Definitely.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Someone who's a newbie that wants to get into peptides, right? Like, it's so much easier to just call someone that knows about it.
Yeah.
To get information. But not everybody has that.
Yeah. The FDA and everybody is not making our lives any easier to do this for people because we're in this limbo land of not being able to, you can or can't talk. And the problem is, you got to go to a physician, but the physicians, 99% of them, have no idea what they're doing. Trust me, I talk to hundreds, if not thousands of physicians day after day after day after day. And I'd say more than half of them were like, what's a peptide? They didn't even know. And now all of a sudden, like, oh, it's a big deal. So they're like, oh, I got to learn about this stuff. But even then, they don't know anything about it. They're calling me. They're doing whatever they can. But as far as education goes, I think there's some really good books out there if you want to educate yourself and learn about it. There is some, AI, take it for a grain of salt, but there is some good metrics based on studies of good safe zones to work in there. Obviously, run your blood work. You need to know where your baseline's at and make sure you're healthy before you do this stuff, or know what's wrong with you before you do something that you don't need. And I would try and find out most naturopath doctors. There are a lot of doctors that are out there now that are making waves and educated and know what they're doing. You just got to look for them. And I know that's sometimes challenging, but it's not an easy question to answer, because until we can get the regulatory response of, hey, this is how you operate, this is how you do it, and this is how you can truthfully talk to people about it. When we can say, put out a bottle that says suggested daily dose, right? I think that's going to solve a lot of, this is, instructions, take one with your morning thing, fasted. Unfortunately, you got to kind of dig to find that right now, because although I know that, and I'm talking about it, do you know that I know that? Or what happens when the guy over there says, don't do it that way? Then you're saying, which one's right? Which one's right? So it would be really nice if we could, I know the government is not always the end all be all in making sure things are, but if we can just get on the same page, there is a lot of information over 60 years on a lot of these products. Russia's been using them forever, and some of these other countries. There's enough out there, and we do have real data. I mean, if you were to say, hey, let's take the 5 big guys, and I'll do the data search for free. Just everybody that uses, and do analysts on, right? Start doing blood tests, start taking the blood test. There's so many people that want to see this thing progress. You could get, some of these studies that they pass for drugs have 100, 500, maybe 1,000 people or something in them that they do the tests on for their models to see if they're good, bad, or kicked out. I don't know about you. If we went on a database with us, Peptide Sciences, BioLongevity, some of the bigger guys that have been around and trustworthy, and you just took all of them and said, hey, are you willing to be part of this? I bet you we would get hundreds of thousands of people that would volunteer to give the information that we could do real easy study work on, and establish that these are safe and that they don't have negative effects, and that this is the amount that you should take to get the results you need very, very quickly. And I'm not talking about just speeding things up just to be quick, but I'm saying that opportunity is there. We just need the ability to use it.
Yeah. Everyone that is part of peptides believes in it.
And they strongly believe in it.
And they want to promote it.
Yeah, because we all, we just found a cheat code that was never there before, and they really are safe for the most part. If not abused like anything else, but even abused, most are extremely safe. Your body just kicks it out and doesn't use it because they have one job, or maybe they have multiple, but you know what I mean? Like they go in, they don't veer off and do something that they're not supposed to do. When you take a steroid and you use your body to metabolize what you just shoved in your body through a needle or a pill or whatever, what happens? Well, it starts creating weird side effects, estrogen, progesterone, fat, whatever, you know what I mean? Because it's like, well, you put this in me, what am I supposed to do? I'm stuck here for 3.5 or 4 days. Most peptides are in and out of your system, some of them in 10 minutes, right? Most of the GHRHs are less than an hour, unless you put them with DAC, right, to lengthen them. But testosterone, CJC, yeah, in and out of your system, 30 to 45 minutes. So they come in, they do their job, they're out. They don't even have a chance to create a side effect because it's so short. Bioregulars, even smaller chance. Like you can't screw up a bioregulator. Take the whole pack, doesn't do anything.
Cool.
All right. The closing rapid fire round.
Dun, dun, dun.
One peptide everyone should at least read about.
Ooh, God, this is I need a rapid fire. Okay, one peptide people read about, NAD.
Biggest red flag in peptide sellers.
Not having tests.
Most misunderstood peptide.
Follistatin.
A peptide you think will explode in popularity really soon.
5-amino-1.
What's more important, dosage or consistency?
Consistency.
Favorite recovery protocol?
Depends on what the recovery is. So BPC, TB500, MGF for muscle, for brain, P21, CMAX, and Slink.
One mistake you'll never make again.
injecting 150 units of insulin. Almost died on that one.
Final advice for someone watching this and feeling lost.
Get on there. I'm going to promote one of the guys that got me a ton of information. Just Google Hunter and Jay Campbell and just watch. They're entertaining. That guy does not have he'll be mean to you if you're an evil person, but that guy has nothing but the utmost respect for the industry and wanting to move it forward. So he's got a lot of really good. He's out there, man. He's got a lot of theories, but they're not theories from nowhere.
No.
There's a reason why he says the things he does. He's a smart guy. So those two guys, really intelligent, really easy to watch and understand what's going on very quickly.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.